Profits are down. Hi, I'm Phil. Welcome to Pretty Good Cooking.
Pretty good.
Contrary to what I told you in a recent episode, we do in fact exist on the weekends. This is a Sunday night PGC. This is a quick one. Tonight we're going to teach you how to make gazpacho, which is a salad soup. It's really just a cold soup, and we're making it because it's near the end of the garden season, and I have lots of tomatoes that I don't know what to do with, and they're starting to get a little bit overripe. So this is a perfect excuse to use them. So anyone can make this, and Iggy will help us by cleaning the floor when I inevitably drop vegetables on it. All right, it's Sunday night, which means we have that Monday dread booze. I may have had a cocktail or two before we started filming, and I shall have another. Unlike almost every other PGC where, I'm tired from the Tuesday day, I don't have that excuse today. I didn't really do anything strenuous today at all. But instead, my excuse is that it's the weekend. I'm chilling. So, tired during the week, chilling during the weekend. Okay, so there's a couple of different things we need to do. We're gonna make croutons. I saved this old bread with the express purpose of making croutons. How hard is it? It's making a big mess. All right, so we'll get a little mixing bowl, and I don't think I'm gonna make these any different from the last time because I like croutons one way. Garlic is good. All right, so we'll get our croutons going first. Some oil, some salt, some pep. We got that garlic powder. This is from California, roasted California. Real fancy. I bet you we didn't put onion powder on them last time. That'll really elevate this. Okay, I'm mixing them around. It looks dry to me, so I'm gonna add a little more oil. I'll tell you what, this stale bread sure is dry. Okay, bada boom, bada bing. So yeah, gazpacho is not normally served as a full meal. And in fact, tonight it will also not be a full meal. You cannot magically transform this into a full meal. You gotta eat it with something. However, what I will say is it's really excellent when it's really hot outside, like it is not today, and maybe you have like a big breakfast and you're not that hungry at lunchtime. Little gazpacho, done. It can be kind of like a half meal, or you're not that hungry kind of meal. But for tonight, I don't know, we'll figure it out. Okay, so gazpacho is primarily tomatoes. So I have a bunch of different tomatoes over here, which are from my garden. I grew all these tomatoes. And you can see some of them are starting to get a little bit old. They got little weird spots on them. That's perfect for gazpacho. Doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna work my way through these, and what I'm gonna do is try to cut off any bits that look unappetizing, and I'm just gonna throw them all in there. That'll be great. Okay, so I have filled up my blender most of the way with tomatoes, and it's at this point that in reality, like my normal way of making it, I'll go ahead and blend those just so that I have some more room to work with. I also have an English cucumber. Cucumber is great in this. I'm gonna reserve part of the cucumber, which I'm not gonna blend up, and I'm gonna chop it up so that there's some textural diversity in the dish. And then it's up to you if you want to peel the rest of the cucumber or not. I typically do. Really what you want to avoid is having tough cucumber skin in your gazpacho. And for that, you can just chop it into chunks. And we'll put whatever can fit in the blender initially, and we'll give it an initial whirl. You see, I've just totally put it to capacity. Fantastic. Nothing bad could possibly happen from me doing that. I'm sure of it, I'm gonna put my hand on top just in case, and we'll blitz it initially. Okay, so you can see that I've filled it up pretty far already. That's fine. We don't really have too much more to go in here. There's lots and lots of stuff you can put in gazpacho. I feel like the critical vegetables are to have mainly tomato, a little bit of cucumber, and some peppers. So I have some peppers from my garden. These are the quote-unquote long hots, which I think are really just some kind of demented bell pepper. And I'll also take this moment to tell you that you can put a lot of effort into gazpacho to try to improve the texture. If you're really sensitive to texture, you may want to go through the process of like peeling the tomatoes and like de-seeding the cucumber and the pepper. I personally don't give a shit. Makes no difference to me whatsoever. So I put in the things whole with their skin. I actually think you get more nutrition that way, but what it means is that in the end result, you don't have a uniform consistency. That's fine with me. I don't really care. You can also try to strain the last of it at the end as well. So pepper, rest of my cucumber, and we'll go ahead and add the things that make this taste even better. So add a very healthy glug of olive oil. Let's give it like one of these. And at the beginning, I called this a salad soup. This is how we turn it into a salad soup. You have your vegetables, and then you have your dressing ingredients, which would be oil and vinegar. For gazpacho, I actually went out and bought a specialty vinegar for this. It should be sherry vinegar, I think. I'm almost positive that it's sherry vinegar. It has a little bit of a distinct flavor. It's from sherry wine, but you add some of that as a seasoning. Tastes really nice. And we can add some pepper. You can do this at the end too. I add a little bit just for the flavor initially. Of course, some salt. And give that another blitz. You can already see some of the chunks when they're like floating, like there. So if you don't like that in your soup, you know, there's ways to handle it. But for me, I don't care. I really don't. Okay, other common additions. Garlic. I love all things garlic, but I actually don't really like it in this because I feel like as these vegetables hang around in here, the garlic is like one of the first things to get weird after it's been a couple days. So again, it's if I want a little bit of garlic, maybe I'll top it with some garlic or put garlic on the croutons. Onion is another optional thing. I think it gets even weirder when it's been sitting around for a bit, but we might use a little bit as a topping. So this, as it exists right now, is pretty close to what I would do for gazpacho. Let's give it an initial taste, just to see where we're at. First impression is that it absolutely needs more salt. And I also think that it needs more vinegar. But you can taste the strong tomato flavor. You can taste the cucumber and bell pepper as well, and it tastes nice. It's very nice and vegetably. It's almost like, I don't know. It's just its own thing. Ah, very good. Why don't we run it through a strainer just to show you what that looks like? Okay, so I've mostly strained it. Okay, you can see there's tons of solids. This is all the stuff that you're straining out. Okay, you can see seeds. You can see bits of tomato skin. Some people don't like that. And you see what's left, if you strain it, is a pretty thin liquid. I'd say that's very thin, actually. To me, that's not what I want. Let's try the thin. This almost has the consistency of like, it's actually lighter than tomato juice. Super, super thin, and there's nothing texturally interesting about it. This reminds me of salad dressing to a certain extent. So, all that was a bit of a waste of time in my opinion. But we did it. I want all of those vegetables back in there, or as many as I can get out of the strainer. So, is that the end of the show? No. Okay, so here is some reserved cucumber. I'm doing a bad job of thinly mincing it, but you know, if it was Tuesday, I would probably be doing even worse, to be perfectly frank. You know, if my name was Frank, I would say that all the f***ing time. I would find excuses to say that in business meetings, to be perfectly frank. Which I am. Profits are down. I know, it's good stuff. It's good stuff, Johnny. It's good content. Okay, finally minced cucumber. This is just a regular bell pepper that I have handy that I also need to use. We're going to add these almost like toppings so that there's little bites on the plate. These are some yellow pear tomatoes from my garden. Okay, how are my croutons looking? Pretty good. Fantastic. Okay, let's just finish. Let's just wrap it up. What was I doing? I was getting ice to make our gazpacho cold and slightly thinner, but that's fine. We are quickly approaching the maximum liquid line. All right, so we're gonna blend this. I can feel it getting cold. Not really, I can't. It was kind of a lie. All right, so check this out. It'll be awesome. A little pile of minced cucumber. A little pile of peps. Not bad. I'm going to add some pickled onions that I have handy, okay? Everyone with me so far? Next up, our gazpacho. Now this plate is a shallow plate, but there's enough space for me to carefully, so carefully, pour it into the plate. There, want an ice cube? Or two. John loves this shit. He just does. Look at these little tomatoes we're putting in the gazpacho bath. Oh, that look nice. And then we can add some hot croutons, which should have been cooled by now, but we didn't have time for that. We really didn't. You can place them around artfully if you so choose. And if you think about it, it's almost like we have a salad. right? Vegetables, croutons, there's a dressing flavor. Really, it's quite nice. But I do think it would be nice with some black pepper. And this is a great excuse to bust out fancy salts if you got them. MacLeod, it's very flaky. This is perfect when you're doing something very simple like this. Nice big flaky salt. All right, so when you plate something fancy like this, instead of mixing it up like a f***ing barbarian, have little bites. Little bites. Tastes good. Let's have one with a little bit of onion in it. Fantastic. I love it. So, I have like a similar experience with gazpacho that I do with smoothies, where concentrated amount of produce. I have like a big bowl of this. I feel really f***ing good. I get like the vegetable rush, vitamins and shit, which is probably all in my head. But if you want something light, refreshing, and you don't feel like chewing a f***ing salad, put it in a blender and we can make gazpacho. I hope you enjoyed watching us make this. It was very, very easy, obviously. And part of why it tastes so good is that the tomatoes are super ripe, came from the garden. It's just not gonna be quite as good if you got, cardboard tomatoes. So yeah, that's how you do it. Hope you enjoy. I'm gonna make some ham and cheese sandwiches to go with this. And we'll see you next time on PGZ.